Good morning and welcome to former State Senator Ray Aguilar, legislative candidate from District 35. Thank you, Ray, for joining us for our virtual legislative candidate meetings. My name is Gina Ragland, and with us today are lead AARP advocacy volunteers, Dave Holmquist, who's also our state president, and Danny DeLong. Emily Wick is also joining us from the AARP state office. Ray, we appreciate your taking the time to meet and discuss issues of importance to the 50-plus voter and their families in Nebraska. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be shared with AARP members across your district prior to the election. So Ray, if you want to start us off by giving us a little background about yourself and your campaign. Again, we're aiming for 5 minutes or less. That would be great. And once you've completed your opening, we'll move into the questions. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. A little bit about myself is that, I'm not a rookie to this. I've served 10 years in the legislature previous to this, and look at the opportunity to get back. My wife Susan and I are both retired, and we have a lot more time to dedicate to this than we did the first go around, where we were both working full time and still managed to be what I feel was a very successful representation of District 35. I'm going to go on and talk about a little bit about what I put together. As a third generation Nebraskan, my roots run deep in Grand Island. It's where I learned the value of hard work and strong family relationships. As a small businessman, I learned to control expenses during challenging times. As Grand Island State Senator for 10 years, I work hard to create jobs and make government more responsive to the needs of taxpayers, seniors, and those who create jobs. I'm proud to live in a place where we know our neighbors, support our schools, worship in our churches, and work together to make Grand Island better. I want to serve you because I have a record of leadership to make sure that the next generation have those same opportunities. As your state senator, I represented the best interests of hardworking families, small businesses, and seniors. I voted to lower taxes, strengthen our schools, and make Grand Island safer. As your next state senator, I will protect taxpayers from high taxes, runaway spending, and will be part of the solution to fix our broken property tax system and deliver meaningful property tax relief. As your state senator, I believe in smaller government, controlling taxes, and more value for each dollar spent. If we are to maintain the good life for generations to come, we must make our government more responsible to the needs of taxpayers, seniors, small business owners, and hardworking families. Thank you, and I appreciate your votes come election day.
Thank you, Ray. We'll now move into the questions. And again, we provided you with a set of 3 questions pertaining to the 50-plus in Nebraska, allotting 5 minutes for each of those questions. And our first question this morning will come from Dave Holmquist, our state president, and it addresses helping people stay in their homes and communities. So go ahead, Dave.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to see you again, Senator. We appreciate it.
Always nice to see you, Dave.
Thank you. This is about livable communities. So a livable community is one that is safe and secure, has housing that is affordable. In other words, no more than 30% of income would be spent on housing, has transportation options that allow individuals to travel by multiple means, and supportive community features and services for people of all ages, which allow people to remain in their communities as they age. What steps will you take to ensure that all Nebraskans have access to livable communities?
Well, first of all, let me state that in Grand Island, we have very adequate transportation that would allow seniors to get to where they need to go. They can utilize this transportation to go to the doctor, to go to the grocery store, almost anything. Whereas I see a problem is in the smaller communities where people don't have that necessary access. What I would recommend there is for smaller communities to utilize traveling docs a little more. Traveling doctors and nurse practitioners, invite them into their communities, as well as another thing that I think works very well, that in the smaller communities, they have vacant office building because everybody's taken such a hit from COVID. A lot of places have closed. If they would take these vacant buildings and utilize them to set up offices for docs to come in and service their communities, I think they'd be way ahead of the game. Because quite frankly, you know, can the state put together the transportation that we have in Grand Island? Probably not. That comes more from community base.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Our second question now, we'll switch over to Danny DeLong, and it comes on the basis of health, caregiving, and home and community-based care. And I think, Danny, you're unmuted. Go ahead, Danny.
Hi, Senator. I was a Grand Island resident for a couple of years. I lived downtown on Wheeler Street by the stained glass window shop down there. And from mid 99 to mid 2001, and loved living in Grand Island, especially in downtown. So glad to see.
We're sorry you left.
Yeah, you know, I could go back there anytime and feel good about it. So
Great.
anyway, glad to see you. And my question is going to be about health, caregiving, and home and community-based care. And you've touched on it a little with your first answer. So here's the background, and then I'll give you one of two questions and then come back with a second question. Caregivers help older persons live independently at home by providing assistance with activities like bathing, dressing, and performing complex medical nursing tasks such as administering medication and wound care. Caregivers often provide these services with little or no training. Our first question is, will you support helping caregivers with paid leave, respite services, telehealth, and access to education and training?
By all means, I think that's necessary. And I don't know whether you're familiar, but I'm sure Mr. Holmquist is, with what I did in my first round in the legislature, and that was a senior companion program. That program was designed specifically to allow people to be trained and come into seniors' homes that need help so that they can stay home longer, live longer in their own place, and be provided services by these people. And the state was actually spending money and paying these people a stipend to help out serve some of these people. Now, I would have no problem expanding that to where they could be more adequate caregivers as far as administering medications and things like that. I think that would be a very great addition to that program.
Great, thank you. The second question is, how will you protect and expand paid services and supports and financial security that allows more seniors to live independently in their homes and communities?
And it is basically the same thing. That's what we're going to do is try to expand on those programs, because we know they work. We know they're successful. And if we can continue to do that and keep the cost down at a minimum and making sure more people are trained to be able to provide those services, that's what we need to do.
All right, sir. Wonderful. Thank you, Senator.
And our last question now, we're going to switch over to nursing facility quality. And an estimated 6,600 Nebraskans reside in one of Nebraska's 211 nursing homes. By 2040, research projects that numbers will include more than double, to almost 14,000. According to other resources and research that's also been done, there are several Nebraska facilities that have closed or been unable to continue operations, gone into receiverships, and then there's more projected or anticipated that will also be closing due to staffing and funding issues that, again, make it so their operations are impossible. How will you ensure that Nebraska residents receive quality nursing home care, including ensuring an adequate nursing workforce, education and training, and proper reimbursement?
Well, I think the problem is somewhat generated by what we're in front of, and that's COVID. I think COVID has scared a lot of those employees away, as well as potential employees. They're staying away because they know the danger of that situation. 40% of the deaths in Nebraska from COVID happened in nursing home. That's not acceptable. So what we need to do is double down on some of the safety protocols in this nursing homes, offer more CNA training, along with, especially with COVID emphasis. The training needs to be in place so that people have confidence to go to work in these places. Hopefully, you know, we're able to provide funding to train some of these people, knowing that it's such a huge need for our state. And like you said, the fact that it's going to double before too long, it just puts that much more pressure on it. So I think the state needs to step up in that realm and put some things in place to make that workable.
Great. Thank you, Senator. And another part of that too is the incentivizing of a workforce. I know there are a lot of rural communities, we have a nursing shortage across the entire state, rural and urban, but we know our rural communities struggle even more with that. Just curious if you have any thoughts on incentivizing specifically people to go into nursing, that would specialize in the nursing facility type of care. Do you have any thoughts or comments on that? In addition,
I think it's been proven that that's worked in past. A lot of the incentivizing to this point has come from nursing homes. And I think the successful one have proven that it works. So, you know, we need to keep them inspired to do that if they can continue to do that, because we need quality people out there. We have unemployment in Nebraska. And if we can take that unemployment and turn them into qualified CNAs and caregivers, you know, more power to us. So we need to encourage whatever we can to make that happen as well.
Great. Thank you, Senator. As we're now coming to the end of our questions and the end of our meeting, I want to offer back to you the final minutes to, again, offer any thoughts or comments that you have, any thoughts that you want to send out or messaging to your constituents. The floor is back to you.
Well, basically, I know it's been quite a while since I've served in the legislature, and I know some of them have probably forgotten me. And I hope the heck they'll take a look at some of my literature I'm putting it out and get their memories jogged a little and find out how hard I do work. Because I'm out working every day now. Right now we're in the yard sign process, and believe me, that's a busy time. So I want them to know a little bit more about me and ask questions, ask anybody that I've served with, and take a look at my list of people that are endorsing me, and they will find that I am the real thing, and hope they will support me in November 3rd.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Senator, for taking the time to visit with us. We wish you the best with your campaign. And most importantly, thank you for meeting with AARP Nebraska today.
I was more than happy to. Thank you for asking me.
Thanks again, Ray.
Thanks, Senator. Enjoy Grand Island today.
Yes. Thank you all.